In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a custom set of cornhole boards for an Arkansas State Trooper. It was not without its challenges, but we overcame. Let's go. So for this project, we're using 3/4 inch plywood. This is just sanded birch. This is not Baltic birch, it's just standard sanded plywood. It does have a few imperfections, but I don't think it's going to matter for this project because they are filled. In other words, there's not a hole there. I like to use these bench cookies to raise that plywood up off the surface so that I can use the track saw to make these cuts. I'm just going to make 2 cuts at 2 foot each. That way gives us two 2 by 4 foot pieces. I am using my track saw here with a couple accessories, but if you don't have a track saw, you could just use a straight edge and a circular saw like I have done many times in the past. The track saw is not a necessity for this project, it just makes life much easier. Before I put the primer on, I like to use a microfiber cloth just to get all of that sawdust off of there from that track saw. There wasn't a lot, but there's going to be a little bit. You don't want to spray paint sawdust. It's just going to flake back off. Also, if you had any splintering, you can take some sandpaper or a little sanding mouse and just kind of hit the edges of that just to knock that splintering off. I'm going to use this Ace Hardware store brand primer. That's all I had, so that's what I'm using. I'm going to put a coat of primer on the top side of this plywood. My theory is that it's going to help bond that veneer a little better so when we go to carving, it won't chip out on me. That's my hope. So I went with a Rust-Oleum Gloss Deep Blue. They didn't have satin, that's why I didn't get satin, but this works out. I'm going to come back with 2 or 3 coats of this blue, let them dry a couple of hours in between coats. And I want to make sure all of this is extremely dry, well cured before I go to the CNC with it. After it fully cured overnight, I took my sander, turned it on the lowest setting, the lowest variable speed that I could get it, and sanded at 320 grit just to knock off any imperfections because I'm fixing to put on this Aura mask. I'm going to use this masking that I bought. I'll drop a link to all the stuff that I'm using in the description. I'm hoping that this masking will help me keep the blue when I pour the epoxy for the white. Now I want the star to be white at the end, so we'll see how this works out. I'm not real sure, not real confident at this point that this is going to work as planned. That's part of woodworking and CNC, trial and error. I'm hoping this is going to allow me to fill the epoxy without damaging or messing up the paint. We'll see. The last time I tried this, it didn't work that well. And then I just took a plastic box with a rounded corner just to help get that down into that wood grain of that plywood. Now it's time for the star of the show, the Shapeoko 5 CNC. I love this thing. I'm going to set this 0 here, and then we're going to start this process. Fingers crossed. One of the reasons I love having the CNC in the shop is specifically for things like this, and this is where the Shapeoko 5 Pro really shines. I was able to put a full 2 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood on there, and then I just let it do its magic. It did a very good job. I'm just using a 60-degree and a 90-degree V-bit here, and then a 1/4 inch downcut bit. It's the only 3 bits I use. I use the 60-degree V-bit for the internal part of the star and the Arkansas State Police lettering. The 90-degree V-bit is used on the outside line of the star just so that it's not as deep and a little more wide. Now the 1/4 inch downcut bit I used around the outside edge. I was able to put a 2 foot by 8 foot piece on this machine, and I just cut out basically the outer edge of it, and I'm going to fill the rest of that with a 1x. You'll see what I mean later. And then I cut out the circle with the same downcut. And I did have a little bit of tear out in a couple of different places using that bit where the veneer come off. I think I can fix that pretty easily with some paint. Now for the epoxy, I'm just using old Login art resin epoxy, and I'm going to use some white mica powder. This is a 1-to-1 epoxy, and it dries fairly quick versus say a deep pour epoxy. It's pretty easy to work with too. It doesn't really hold bubbles. You don't really have to worry about that much. It just comes out pretty nice every time that I've used it. I'll drop a link to this in the description if you're interested in checking out old Login. For the pour, I just mix this up. It's a 1-to-1 again. I just use a cup from Total Boat epoxy, put the old Login epoxy in there, mix it up 1-to-1. I barely had enough. I should have mixed just a little bit more, but it worked out. Now with this stuff, I made sure to stir it extremely well and added white mica powder. I kept adding white until I got the color I thought was good enough. I should have added some more actually. And then I just transferred it all into a condiment bottle. I bought this on Amazon. This is what I use to keep my wood glue in. Works perfect for stuff like this. Now doing the fill, I wanted to overfill it just ever so slightly just to be able to give it enough for me to tell when I was surfacing the top of it, which I'm fixing to do. As far as the center goes, because it was so detailed, I really had to basically flood that whole center. It really wasn't what I wanted to do, more what I had to do. It was fairly easy to fill using this bottle though, didn't have really any trouble. Now when I started filling this, I knew almost immediately that I should have done something a little bit different, and if I had to do this over, I would have. Because I still have the masking on there, what I should have done was take some white spray paint and paint inside of all of this and that would have really made this white pop out, especially when I use this white, kind of a pearl white mica powder. That would have really helped things look a lot better, I think. I really wish I would have done that. It's too late now. Unless something really goes bad wrong when I start flattening this, which I'm pretty convinced something might go wrong. I'm not fully convinced this is gonna work out. Let's find out. My concern here is that when I'm running this flattening bit or surfacing bit over the surface, that it will, I don't wanna get too low that it hits that veneer. If that happens, it's really gonna mess things up bad. Probably have to start all over. And if that happens, I'm not gonna fill it with epoxy, I'm just gonna paint it. So let's just hope for the best here. I'm just gonna use the standard double stick tape again, just to hold it in place. And then I'm gonna start running this flattening bit back and forth, lowering it as little as possible as every time. I think it's 0.01 of an inch that I can lower it, maybe 0.001. Whatever the smallest amount is, I'm gonna lower it that amount, make my passes, lower it again, make my passes, and just keep going until I get to the point where I think it's right close enough where I can take the masking off and hopefully reveal nice crisp looking star lettering as well as that inside detail on the logo. This worked out about as good as I thought it would. I accidentally hit the Z and made a very nice round divot in my board that I got to fix. I just filled that with some CA glue and then I'll come back and paint that later. It did get into the veneer in a few places on here that I'm gonna have to fix. I'm gonna have to tape around this and basically respray it, but I think I can work with that. As far as taking the masking off, I found that using a heat gun really helps out here because it loosens that glue up and it comes off really easily. The only problem is there's a lot of tiny little pieces, especially in the wings of the angel as well as the eagle here. So I gotta really dig in there and just take my time and get all those out. It comes off easy, it's just gonna take time. So to finish up these tops, all I'm gonna do is put the paint inside the circle so that it doesn't look like it's bare. And then I do have to do some touch up on those ASP stars where I got a little paint taken off from the flattening, but that's not a big deal. Use a little painter's tape, we get all this fixed. And then we're gonna build a frame, but first I'm gonna take some high grit sandpaper and just kind of knock the gloss off of the top of these boards and around those stars so that it kind of gives it a matte look. For the frames, I'm just gonna use 1x4s. I'm gonna cut them all to length, the sides, the ends. I'm just gonna use my table saw here to rip the very edge of this board off. I just wanna take that rounded edge off, that's all I'm doing. I am using a feather board here to help keep that against the fence so we get a nice consistent cut. If your boards have a significant bow in them, then that will cause you some problems when cutting the edges off. These are fairly straight, and let's be honest folks, we're building cornhole boards and not a clock, so don't get too serious right here. A few of these have some knot holes that have the potential of maybe the knot will come out later. So I'm just gonna lock those in with some CA glue, sand that flush, and then we'll paint it. After I get them sanded, I'm going to use my router with this very small, like a 1/16 inch roundover. We're just basically putting that factory roundover around the outside edges, but we're leaving that square on the inside because when we butt it up to the plywood, I want that to match like we talked about earlier. We'll do this on the outside edges as well as the corners, the ends, anywhere that's not going to be touching the plywood directly. To attach the frame to the board, it's pocket hole time. All I'm going to do is drill 4 pocket holes on the long side, 2 on the short. That's going to allow us to attach those 1x4s, make it really nice and strong. And to keep everything nice and hidden so you don't see any fasteners from the outside. I'm going to take those outside, paint those all white because we want our border to be white. While they're drying, I'm going to make the legs. On the legs, all I'm doing is taking like another piece of 1x4. I cut these about 15 inches long so I can trim them up. We're also going to make a radius around the top so that I'm able to fold these in. You'll see when we're done. To draw the radius, I just found something that is really close to this size. This is just an old tape roll. Then we'll just use a jigsaw to cut that out. To drill the holes in the legs, I'm just using a 1/2 inch Forstner bit. I've measured down about 1 3/4, marked the center of the board, and then drilled the holes. I used a backer board here just to keep any tear out from happening on the back side. Now we're going to attach the frame to the board, and we're just going to make sure that everything lines up before you attach them with the pocket screws. I'm going to use 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws here, and that should be just right to hold everything in place. You can also use a little bit of wood glue to help just give it a little extra grip. Main thing is you want to make sure this end board lines up to the side boards on each end before attaching them, and also make sure that the top of this board lines up with the top of the frame. On these end boards, I made sure to put some glue where they meet right here on the ends, and then I'm going to also use a brad nail, that's about 1 1/4 inch brad nail, just to tag it in place while the glue dries. In the center, I'm also going to add 1 little brace. I made sure and rip this down just thin enough so that it falls right under the edge of those outer boards so you won't see it from the top, but it'll give it a little bit of support here in the middle. I don't know that it'll need it, but it certainly won't hurt it. I also put 1 pocket hole from the brace into the plywood just to help hold everything nice and steady. Just be careful and don't overdrive that and punch through the other side. Now, to position the legs correctly and drill a hole where I need it to, I'm just going to use a quick clamp. I want to make sure that the back side or the square side of that board is lined up with the frame. That way when it's fully extended or open, it'll actually act as a stop block and stop right there every time you open the leg. When drilling through the side of the frame like this, you want to be sure not to drill all the way through, or it will likely cause some tear out. What you're going to be looking for is the tip of that Forstner bit just to pop through. Then you'll just drill from the other side to prevent tear out. For the bolts, I'm using a 1/2 inch bolt, 2 regular flat washers, and a lock nut. Now I'm just tightening this up so that it's just snug, and that will allow the leg to move freely. It's possible when you get the bolt in there and you try to close the leg, it'll stop at some point through here, and all you have to do is take your sander and just sand this radius just a little bit. Just do it a little at a time until it fully collapses. The tension will come from this bolt and lock nut. Once you get it a certain snug, then it'll be fairly snug all the way through the movement. That way it doesn't unfold when you're carrying it. Now, to set the leg angle, all you're going to do is measure from the top of your cornhole board to 12 inches, or if you use common 1-bys like me, it should be about 8.5 inches. Then just take a 4-foot level and hold it at this angle until you get to that mark, and then just grab a line. Then that should be about a 10-degree angle and should be about where you need to cut both legs. Then you can take the legs off, make the cut, and then paint them to match, or you can paint them a contrasting color like blue. I think I'm going to paint them white just to keep the white from transferring onto the blue whenever I move the legs back and forth. You can see the end results. These boards are 12 inches, so pretty much regulation size boards, and they look fantastic. That lacquer finish makes a very smooth, like a very butter smooth finish on top. So those bags will glide smooth on there without just sticking as soon as they hit. Now, I couldn't just give him this bago set without some proper bags to go with it. So I jumped on Etsy and found me a seller that would make me some custom bags with the Arkansas State Police badge on there. I wore a badge that looked just like this for many years. It's a badge of honor to be able to wear that badge. And so I wanted to make some that were basically fitting. I went with red and gray bags so they would contrast well with the boards, and they just look fantastic. Now, because of the Arkansas State Police social media rules, I don't want to get him in trouble, so I'm not going to show his face on camera. You can see his car in the background just to prove that he's here getting these. Again, I was a trooper for 13 years, so I love being able to give gifts to troopers like this, so I hope you enjoy it, brother. So because I had the badge file already done to be able to have these bags made, I also made him a custom catch-all tray. I'm probably going to put these on the store at 731woodworks.com/store if you want to buy a badge tray. You got to go check out the outdoor games video I did where I made a big ladder toss game as well as a giant 4-in-a-row game. There's also build plans for each one of those games available on the store. Check out that video next.